You should be live.
Hi guys, how are you doing? How's everybody? Hi Brenda, hi Kathy, hi Andrea, hi Diane, hi Mary R, Alice. There's probably others here that your name's flipped up, so I'm not sure who else is out there, but I know we got quite a few. How you guys doing today? Okay, can y'all hear me all right? I'm sorry your kits didn't get there for those I see that are still looking for them. They'll be there soon.
We hear you fine, says
Oh,
Alice.
good. Hearing me and seeing me, it's a good thing, I suppose. At least hearing me. Seeing my hands. All right. Excellent. Okay, before we get going here, let's take a look at our components of our kit so that anybody who's watching this who has not yet seen the kit will see it before I start cutting things up. Yeah, hopefully YouTube will be much nicer to us today. Hello, Ellen. Welcome. Nice to see you there.
We have
In
Betty
the UK.
McSorley and Patrice.
Excuse me?
Betty McSorley and
Oh,
Patrice.
hello, Betty McSorley and Patrice also. Welcome, guys. All right. So, in your kit, for this is not for anybody who bought the kit 12. You won't necessarily have all these supplies, but out of our kit, you're going to have 7 pieces of Mirri. Of the A6, you're going to have a DL Mirri. You're going to have cards and envelopes here somewhere. There they are. We are going to have 2 DL cards. That's the big ones. Really? Yeah, there we are. 2 DL cards. You're going to have a bunch of little cards. You're going to have a 5x7. All of those are going to be in 300 GSM. You're going to have an 8x8 piece of working paper. You're going to have envelopes for all of those cards. You are also going to have a sheet of these little pastel pearls. You're going to have a half a sheet of foam squares. And then we have the actual kit. Oh, and all this ribbon, lots of ribbon. And then the actual kit materials. You're going to have your Hunkydory magazine that is just chock full of ideas. You're going to have 4 sets, 4 3-piece sets of toppers with accompanying cardstock. As long as I'm showing you, I'm going to sort mine while I'm at it, so I have the things I need. I'm going to set my magazine aside for now because you will really want to look at this, but I'm not using that today. Although I do need to give credit where credit's due. I actually took one of the magazine ideas, maybe even more than one, out of the magazine. I think I kind of did my own thing once I started it, but I did use their idea to get started. So I've got, there's some cardstock, there's some cardstock. Oh, Teddy's up running around on the table, guys.
I'll say hi to Ruth Ann and Katie.
Hi, Ruth Ann.
And Betty.
Hi, Katie. Welcome, friends. Diane, I don't know if I said hi earlier. Hello, Diane. Betty Gossel, hello. Welcome, guys. Then we're not using the gnomes because there's a limit to how many cards we can make in a day. But they're absolutely adorable. I'm setting these aside for later. I really have to show those to my daughter. Wouldn't she think those were cool for Frau?
Yes, Ruth Ann is asking, are we going to use the embossing folder with that from the kit today?
We are not using the embossing folder, the die, or the stamps today.
We have Samantha's joined us.
Hi, Samantha. Welcome, guys. Oh, nice turnout today. All right, let's see. I'm going to take the rest of my gnome stuff and put it away. I have enough trouble keeping track of just what I have to have. I'll certainly bury all my supplies if I... You want to say hi to Teddy, guys? Let me finish sorting here real quick, honey. And then Teddy can make a brief cameo. He's here, hanging out. Okay, there we go. Oops, I don't think I did these. I did not do these. I don't remember which one this is to. I'll keep it here in case I need it. And more gnomes, and more gnomes, and more gnomes, and more gnomes. Okie dokie. All right. Teddy wants to say hi. Hi, Teddy. Can you say hi to everybody? Can you say, hi, guys. I'm here. I'm here to say hello. Hello, hello. For future reference, you never ask to ask that, Debbie, yes. Huh?
You don't have to ask to show Teddy.
Oh. The answer is always yes to show Ted. Okay. Hey, can you say hi to everybody? Hey, look over here. Hey, look over here. Look over here. Where are they? Where's our friends? Where's our friends? Where are they? Oh, and now he wants to run to the door because I told him friends were here. Oh, good. He said, oh, I'll just walk across the table to you, Dad. Well, there he goes. He said, now cross country. No, this isn't really what I had in mind, Teddy. Come on, puppy, puppy. Come on. Yeah, now I think I'll just stay here and stand in the middle of the craft table because that's the attention I should get. Okay, Teddy has moved on. All right. So let's think about where we're going to start here today. We usually start on something simple. Simple's good today. Okay. Let's do... So I got a story for you. Last night, trying to be a good girl. That's my first problem. Bryce just hard from the office. He went one of those things when I said I was trying to be a good girl. Trying to be a good girl, I went to bed early. It was a little after midnight. And I thought, I'm just going to lay in bed, play some of my games, and then I'll drift off to sleep and I can and get up earlier and have a full day and be awake, when we do our class. So I went in and tried to go to bed. And as I walked through the bedroom door, I saw that our big old cat, we have Fergus, who's 22 pounds, was stretched out all the way on my side of the bed. Well, I don't mind sharing my bed with Fergie normally, but Fergus has this habit lately of really trying to drive us crazy. He will, I know it's not a far journey, just in case you were going to say that, he will wait until you just get to sleep, and then he will decide that he wants to get out of the room. We sleep with the door closed, so Ted's not wandering the household. So I thought, I'm just going to boot your butt out before I ever get into bed tonight. So I pick up at this cat who does not want to leave, and he grabs the bedspread with all four paws. He's not wanting to have me move him. He grabs the bedspread with all four paws. I'm trying to wrestle it's dark too, because Bryce is already asleep. And I'm trying to loose this cat from the bedspread and then get the squirmy cat who's trying to get away. and I finally manipulate the cat around, and I'm headed for the door, trying not to get scratched, because he will scratch me when I'm trying to boot him out of the bedroom. And so I'm trying to manipulate this cat and get to the door. I'm not quite to the door when I reach for the doorknob, and I kicked a laundry basket with my right foot. And I almost fell, so I caught myself with my left foot, and I felt and actually heard something snap in my right foot. And so now, today, I haven't been to the doctor yet, but today I made my way to the shop with crutches. I took some Tylenol. I don't know if it does this to any of you guys, but I took 2 Tylenol, which I'm very medication sensitive. I took 2 Tylenol, and they make me sleepy, and I went off to sleep and didn't get up until like a half an hour before class starts today. So, yeah, so much for trying to go to bed early and being a good girl. The moral to my story is never try to be a good girl. No more of that for me. Oh, yeah, it is not being a nice foot today either. So if you hear a little ouch once in a while when I readjust, just know that, yeah, that's all because a cat named Fergie wanted to take over my side of the bed. I love him anyway. I love all my critters, but he really, really doesn't like to get moved. So that's my cat story for the session today. Second moral to the story: put away my darn laundry and don't leave the laundry basket between me and the door, huh? Yeah. So that's what I did. Let's see. I don't know why I want to do this one, but I think I want to do this one first. Let's do this one. So let's get our big piece of cards. Our big card. Get a piece of cardstock. And then it looks like I used a double-sided paper on this one. So let's dig out the double-sided paper that's green on the back. Furby. I like Furby for a name. Is that what I used? Yeah, that's what I used. I used some of this one to cover my card. I'm going to need my DL Mirri board. I'm going to need my DL card. I'm going to need this piece of cardstock. I'm going to need my red-blue ribbon. I will need my pearl sheet. I will need my foam squares. And I will need my finger lift tape. I will probably want a glue bottle. I didn't get out here early enough to nicely organize all my materials, so bear with me here while Okay, there we go. So all the rest of this can set aside for a minute. Okay, and this is what I need to work on. Okay, so I'm going to cover my card first with my background paper. This was one of those when it was hard to actually make myself cut the paper because this other side of the paper was so pretty too. And it should be a perfect fit, so should be able to cut it off of the end of this piece of double-sided paper. Yes. Molly gets up on your headboard and dives onto you at 3 a.m. And while she's doing it, she probably says, "Remember earlier when you wanted to play and I didn't? Well, I'm ready." For those of you who have not yet read Betty's book about adopting Molly, she has a home for Molly on Amazon. And you can hear the story of Molly's adoption from Molly's perspective. Thank you, Adeline. Okay, so I'm covering my card. I think I'm going to turn this around and cover it from the other direction so I don't have to question whether I get my entire... I'm covering it from the loose end first so that I don't have to worry if I get my fold covered, because then I'm cutting along my fold line instead of relying on eyeballing it to put it on. So I put down my 3 rows of tape. I positioned my paper over. Now these are generally really high quality cards, but this right here is an example of the fact that even really high quality cards can have problems with their fold lines. I don't know if you can see that on your camera, but that's off quite a ways. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to trim that little bit off of my card. That's not anything I've done. It's just that the fold line started out quite a bit off. So I'm just going to trim that piece off of my card. That means my measures might be a little bit different than yours, guys. But in order to straighten this up so I don't have that really awkward fold line, I trimmed almost 1/4 inch off my card. Like I said, that's going to mean my card might be just a little different than yours. Let's see, now my Mirri's even bigger than my card. I'm going to take probably a 1/2 inch. My Mirri starts out to be 8 1/4, and my card starts out to be 8 1/4. I'm going to cut just a little less than a 1/2 inch off to start with, because you know we can always add more. I'm going to have to take 1/4 inch plus a little extra off. So you're going to cut roughly a 1/2 inch off. I'm going to have to take a little extra off my width because of trimming my card down. And that looks pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and go with that. Now I'm going to... This is everything. If mine's going to end up being narrower because of having to trim that. I'm going to trim a little bit off this outer edge of my card. Okay, so I'm going to cut this piece. Mine's going to be narrower, but because my piece is 3 and what's going on to is 3 1/2, I'm going to start at 3 1/2, maybe actually right at 3 1/2, and then I will, well, I know it's going to have to be narrower than that, so I'm going to start at 3 1/4 for my pattern and see how that looks on my mirror board. I may have just a little tiny border on my Mirri. That's, I think, how I'll compensate, because that's going to look good. That's going to look good. Okay. All right. So I need to cut this one down to fit my Mirri, and that's going to get cut off about, I'll take that much to start with. This was supposed to be my easy card. Oh, slid it while I was, let's see. It's probably going to be fine to cut it there anyway. Yeah, I'm going to go right there. Okay, so I've got my 3 layers. I'm going to glue these 2 layers together, but don't glue it onto your card yet. Darn it. And I slid it and started to cut there. I'm going to go ahead and take that little piece off. Which means I'm going to be a little wider than I am tall. Just even a little bit more off. That's inconvenient. Okay. All right. So I'm going to glue this in place onto my Mirri. You're working on something different. That's okay, Betty. How many people are working with me today? Just give me a 1 if you're working with me. Bryce ended up coming to my rescue, or at least hearing me and talking to me and offering to take me to the hospital if I wanted to go. And this, okay, good. So I got 3, there's 3 of us. Sorry I was so weird with my measurements there, guys. On the next card I'll try to be better. But it was because my card was off. Yeah, he woke up enough to offer to take me to the hospital if I wanted to go. In the age of COVID, I didn't want to go. So, and that's why I haven't been yet. But if it's still as icky tomorrow as it is today, I may go to urgent care or something and see if they can take an x-ray and see if it's broken, whether I actually have to cast it or not. I have one of those boots, but in case there's something that needs to be set. Don't want to wait too long if it has to be set. Honey, would you come get me my baby wipes, please? They're down the table. I got clear over there somehow. Thank you. Thank you. It might have been a tendon or something that popped. I don't know. All I know is that I actually felt a distinct popping and actually even heard a little pop. So, whatever that was. You silly kitty. I'm actually going to do this in 2 steps. Now, I could tie this bow and I could just wrap it in one fell swoop. But it's faster. I think it's faster and easier sometimes. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll just go ahead and tie it. I was going to say it's faster and easier sometimes just to do it. But I'm going to go ahead and tie it in there. Because then I won't have to wait for my best glue ever to dry. Leave yourself a nice long piece to wrap around your card. And I'm going to tie a double. Both at 5. Both loops at 5. So I'm going to go around the 5, come back here and go around the 5. Then I'm going to do it again. Then I'm going to go down through the hole. I'm going to come up. If you haven't taken my bow class, you might want to do that because we use this little bow maker a lot. It's by Tattered Lace and Embellishment Attic. It's wonderful. Okay. And I'm going to pull it off. Angle maker. I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. And I'm going to separate my loops. And I have that pretty little bow tied. Yep, I have that pretty little bow tied. I'm going to put some tape on the back of my ribbon. This 1/4 inch, it takes a little bit more finesse to put tape on the back, but I do prefer tape to glue because you don't have to worry about the glue coming through your ribbon. So if any of your tape is trying to show around the edges of your ribbon, then you're just going to fold that tape, just the tape part, back on itself. So I've got it taped. I'm going to lift this and straighten up my bow a little bit again before I pull all that backer off. You cut your hand on a metal bucket. That's not fun. That sounds painful. Okay. Mostly my tape is good, but right here around my bow I see a little tape showing, so I'm just folding that back on itself. And I'm going to I'm going to put my bow right over my flowers this time, which seems a little odd, but I really liked the way it looked. So I'm actually going just above the centers of my flowers, and I'm putting it right over the flowers this time. Trying to get it straight, a nice straight line there. Make sure I like my placement. I think that'll be okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to clip my ribbon. I'm going to fold it around the back. Of my card, and that will hold that really, really well. Then we can go ahead and put this down on our card. I'm just going to go ahead and glue this in place. Remember that if you're putting the glue right on the back of the Mirri, I'm setting mine in just a little bit. If you're coming clear out to the edge, you can do that. Just make sure that anywhere that you're near the edge of your card that you actually rub out that line just a little bit so that you don't have a bump in your Mirri that shows. Because the Mirri is so highly reflective that even that little bit of weight from the glue can show through to the front. So we just rub out the line a little bit. Okay, we need some toppers off our topper sheet. So let's go back and get that. We have plenty of work left for these papers to do, so I'm going to set my papers aside. And I'm going to go and get my poinsettia topper. Oh, they're both on there. I want the poinsettia topper and I want the Happy New Year. This might be your first New Year's card you've made. Okay, we'll get that one, and we're getting this one. Taking this one from the bottom. Now, we're actually going to take this frame, this poinsettia frame, apart into 3 pieces. We're going to take the green frame and we're going to set it aside for now. That will be the 3rd card we do. We're going to take the middle frame and we're going to put some glue on it. And we're going to tack it down on the angle, on an angle here. Hi Elsie, welcome from Norway. Nice to see you. We love to have new crafty friends from around the world. So we've got at least 4 countries represented here today. We've got the US, we've got Canada, Great Britain, and Norway now. Nice. Okay, I'm going to set this frame in about an inch from the edge. Just about an inch from the edge of my card. Then I'm going to put my center up on some foam squares. That it is. Crafting is absolutely universal. So nice to have everybody with us today, though. That's awesome.
Sound like Mr. Rogers.
I said that? That I sound like Mr. Rogers?
Yep, that statement.
Oh, Bryce says I sound just like Mr. Rogers. Okay, well, there's worse things to be compared to. There's worse things to be compared to. Mr. Rogers was pretty okay. I used to love Mr. Rogers. I won't sing to you It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I like my viewers. I don't want to chase them off. Okay, we're going to center this poinsettia right in the middle of that, right in the middle of our square that's turned on edge. We're going to come back in and we're going to put some foam squares under this Happy New Year. And we'll slide that right in under our bow. We'll embellish with a few pearls, and this card is going to be done. If you haven't seen that Tom Hanks movie of Mr. Rogers, it's really, really good. That's a good thing to watch on Netflix. It's a good, feel-good movie. Won't you be my neighbor? Okay, because my card is narrower and I didn't compensate enough, I guess, it's okay. I didn't compensate quite as much for my cutting down that I did on this card. My label's pretty low, but I'm going to leave it right where it is. And then we're going to get some pearls out. And on the top of our card, we're going to use 3 of our Snow White pearls. We're going to put down a row of 3. They're going to be about 1/4 of an inch apart. And they're going to be on the inside layer on our green. Put these down, I'll show you. I'm going to put 3 white pearls here. It's enough separated from the ivory that I went ahead and used the snow white because we're making so many cards. I wanted the ivory for a different job. So I put the snow white up here. Now I'm going to put 3 of the green pearls down on the ivory on the lower corner. And set them from the left edge just about 1/4 of an inch. And then a row of 3 again. And this is our finished card. Yours should look a little bit more like the wide one, like this one. Mine's a little narrower because I had to trim my card down. But they're both beautiful. There we go. Okay. Hi, Thelma. Okay, that one is finished. Okay, next up, let's just continue our poinsettia theme. And let's do this card. We're going to need this piece of cardstock. We're going to need one of our gold Mirri mats. We are going to need a border off of our topper sheet. Remember, we can't punch those out. We actually have to clip that out to do the borders. So I'll clip that. Also remember, I don't know how much some of you guys have watched my classes, but save these cut-off pieces until we're done, because sometimes we use these. That nice pretty piece of foiling on there, sometimes you can do some fun things with that. Okay, now let's cover our card. We need one of our A6 cards. As I figure out what I did with them. Okay, get one of my A6s out here. Whoa! Avalanche! Supplies, avalanche. Double-sided papers. Slippery. We're going to cover our card with our mirror board. Margie and I spent a couple of hours planning for our party next week. It's going to be a total riot. Do not forget. Be sure you set yourself a reminder. I actually put an event out there on the schedule for YouTube. So be sure you set yourself a reminder to come to the party, because you do not want to miss it. It's going to be great fun. Great fun. Super duper fun. It will start at 2 o'clock, and you can expect it to go until 6 or so. So it's going to be a long party, but it's going to be great, great fun. Wait till you see it. Everything that we have in mind for you. Oh my gosh. We finished the other night, and I told Margie, I'm ready now. Let's go. Really not ready though, because we still have a fair number of things to do to prepare for being with you that long. But oh my gosh, you are not going to wait. You're not going to wait. You're not going to believe what we have in store for you. It's going to be great fun. We'll do some crafting. We'll do some laughing. We'll have some specials. We'll have lots of games and activities and things. It's going to be a riot. You will not believe how fun it is. I won't make you do anything embarrassing. I might have to do some embarrassing things, but that's okay. I do that every day. Do we need any basic supplies for class? Yes. You're going to want, one of the things Margie's going to teach us is how to do some fancy folded napkins. So you'll want to have 2 full-size dinner napkins. And let's see. If you're going to take chocolate shots with us, one of the things we're going to do is that we said we were going to have virtual chocolate. So we are designating some words that when people use them, Margie and I will have to take a chocolate shot. And we're going to have different kinds of chocolate that is designated for the different words that people might use that's on our list of chocolate shot words. And when you guess what the word is, we're going to send you one of those chocolate bars. So if you happen to be the one who guesses what the form of what the chocolate word was, then we're going to send you the chocolate bar of that we're using for that word. That way we all have virtual chocolate. Okay, now we're going to do something really weird here, guys. Before, I covered my card with my gold Mirri, and then I cut this piece off the other end of my cardstock at 3 7/8 wide. I cut it across, okay? Now, just to make sure that we all end up with the piece that will work, I'm going to have you come over here. Let's see. I'm going to have you cut off a piece from the end of your cardstock that is we need it to be at least 2 3/4 inch wide. So cut off a piece of your cardstock that is 2 3/4 inch wide. And from that piece, we are going to create this topper. It's barely going to be wide enough, but what that's going to leave us with is a piece big enough to do this card we're working on, and a piece big enough to create a topper out of this frame. So, that's one of the things that we're going to do at our party. Virtual chocolate. So if you would like to have a chocolate bar handy, you could take chocolate shots with us. So you might want to have some chocolate handy. A lot of what we're going to do during this particular event. We're gonna do some crafting, but we're gonna do a fair number of show and tells. There are things that you can do, sometimes with what you have, sometimes with supplies you haven't tried yet, and just kind of demo a number of different things for our party. Guaranteed to be fun, though. We're going to play password. So if you would like to, and there would be prizes for the people who guess the password. Patrice says, dang, I have to buy chocolate. The things we'll do for our passions. Yes, I am really squeezing that piece of cardstock, Brenda, but we're going to end up with this really beautiful topper out of it. Look what we're getting out of our... Now, I did the first one just out of my trim off, but I wanted to make sure that you guys were able to create one too. That's why I'm having you cut it in advance. Isn't that going to be pretty, though? That's our extra topper we just created. It's gorgeous. Yes, I remember Alan Ludden too. I do. That was a great game. And Betty White. Betty White and Alan Ludden used to be on Password. They did for a fact. Yep, we're going to play Password, and we're actually going to do some Pictionary. All with prizes involved. And we're going to play a game called What's She Making? Yes, Alan Ludden was Betty White's husband. Yeah, we're going to play a game called What's She Making? So Margie and I are going to take turns. If all things work out according to our schedule, we're each going to take a turn off camera. When Margie is doing her, I just glued this topper onto its frame and I trimmed off the extra. Now look at that beautiful topper we just created. Isn't that pretty? And we... So we are, Margie will be off camera and she will be working on something. And while she's working on it, you're going to ask me yes or no questions. And we will take a guess at what she's making. You'll be able to ask me yes or no. And I will... Oh, yeah, okay. With this one. And then the person who guesses what she's working on is going to get the project she's working on. And so we're going to do that. And somebody asked a question up there. Are we going to share recipes? Yes, let's do that. We are going to share recipes. And we're going to also do, I'll announce it then, but I'll tell you now so you can be thinking about what you want to use. We're having a virtual card swap. I think that was somebody's idea from class. What I'm doing is I'm taking this border that was off our border sheet and I'm trimming the foiling down just a little bit. I want to leave a little tiny foil edge, but I'm trimming off some of the foil because what I want to do is I'm trying to border this. I'm going to border this border. I'm putting down this border and I'm going to let my ribbon show out both sides. So I'm trimming this border down just a little bit. So is Bryce going to make some wonderful virtual goodies? I will have to find out. I'm going to ask Bryce if he'll share one of his recipes we talk about all the time. I don't know if he will. I think he will. I'm going to ask him if he'll share his roll recipe in our recipe swap. Because we talk all the time about his wonderful homemade rolls. So I'm going to ask him if he'll share his roll recipe. There we go. That's looking good. So we'll see about that. And you'll bring the Krispy Kremes. I had the nicest surprise yesterday. Somebody came up to the door, knocked, dropped a box of Krispy Kreme donuts and ran. And my family wasn't sure they were going to eat them because we didn't know who they were from. And I said, I'll bet they're from Margie. And then they said, well, we didn't recognize the person, but we only saw the hoodie, so we don't know for sure who they're from. So we don't know if we should eat them. And I said, I think you can feel pretty comfortable eating them. I'm sure it's from it's Margie or one of our Crafty Friends. So I'm sure it's fine to eat them. So finally, the scent of the donuts got the better of them, and they started. Clever, Kathy. Very clever. So finally, the scent of the Krispy Kreme donuts got the best of them, and they had some. And then Margie confessed later that night that she had sent them, and her daughter-in-law had dropped them at the door. And her daughter-in-law thought she looked into the camera so we could see who they were from, but she didn't really look into the camera. So I'm putting my border down on this ribbon, or that's what I'm trying to do. It's not being absolutely cooperative. And then I'm going to clip this off. But I like the way this looks when you put this red border down both sides of the ribbon. We're actually going to do this twice. The other one's a little bit easier though. Remember when I said don't throw these away because sometimes I use them? I had forgotten I actually did use this. So I'm going to do something I don't often do, and that is I'm actually going to clip this ribbon right on the front. So I'm going to clip this off one end, and then we're going to measure it out and clip it off the other end. I'm going to clip it right there. So we have this pretty border with a piece of ribbon in it going across our card. It's just a little bit long. You're going to make me go in and have one of Margie's Krispy Kremes here after class? Mary. I am going to put just a tab, just a tiny little bit of glue right there on the end of my ribbon and my border, just to eliminate any chance of that trying to fray. And I'm going to glue this down to my card. Now what we actually accomplished by doing all this is get that shiny, iridescent red-blue ribbon showing down both sides of our border. It's a lot of work to go to get that little tiny effect, but You know, what do we got? A time, right? And I'm going to put that onto my card. Clean up my glue just a little. A little bit of glue on my card too. I'll clean that up. So we get our ribbon on there. So we put our ribbon on. But I think that's a pretty effect we get doing that with a ribbon, don't you? I think that's pretty. All right. Then we're going to put our greeting, the glad tidings, which must be on the other topper sheet. And put our glad tidings up on some foam squares. It's off of the Christmas tree sheet, guys. Put glad tidings. A little bit of a snug on that one. Put it up on some foam squares and just kind of straddle that ribbon with the topper. So I'll put my foam squares at the, well, I would if I'd put it on the right direction anyway. I have to agree with you, Annette, Krispy Kremes really are the best. Okay, I wanted my foam squares at the very top and at the very bottom so that I can just go right over the top of my ribbon. You know what you have to have with Krispy Kreme is a tall cup of coffee. Yum, I love coffee with my donuts. Okay, now it's making me want some coffee. Even better with coffee than with Diet Coke, and there's not much that's better. That's not better with Diet Coke, but I'd take a cup of coffee over a Diet Coke with a Krispy Kreme. All right. This is one of those places we're going to use the true pearly pearls. Is that right? Or am I using yellow? I'm using the yellow on this one. So on the very top, put down 3 of your yellow pearls. It's provided you can hang on to them better than I did. 3 little pearls at the top. And at the bottom, I used blue-gray ones. I thought they looked okay there, and like I said, we're kind of stretching this sheet of pearls to get pearls on all of our cards, but I thought the pearls were just the right elegant touch with these beautiful poinsettias. You guys doing okay who are following along? Give me a 1 or a 2. An 8? Okay, Patrice. We know. Okay, Kathy's got a 1. Now, Patrice, you already identified number 5 as I just finished my donut. What is a number, as you just finished your brownie. What is a number 8? I need the food. They're making me hungry. Katie, yeah, my number 12. My numbering system is going to the wind with this crew, honey. Oh, you guys are funny. Here's our cards. Barely keeping up, but I'm hanging in. Okay, why don't you take just a minute and fit? Okay, I'm going to give you guys a minute. Andrea and Kim, you guys go ahead and finish up, and I won't start right into the next one yet. Pretty cards, but we can't eat them. Katie gave us a number 12, just cleaned up a cat hairball. You guys are so funny. I'm going to stall a little here as I move and let these two catch up a bit. We're going to use this piece that we were using a minute ago. We're going to use the front of that now. We're going to use this trim off piece. Oops, is that the one I want? Where is it? No, I have another one. Let's see where that is. Oh, this one. The trim off piece between the two borders. Yeah, have a little soda. Exactly. We're going to take this trim off piece from between the two borders. See how it has that beautiful foiling on both sides? That's too pretty to throw away. We're going to use that. Absolutely. We're going to use a piece of our mirror board. We're going to use another one of our A6 cards. So I'll just get our supplies out here and ready, and then I'm going to have a soda drink. Honey, would you get me a bottle of soda out of the house, please? Thank you. Okay. I asked my daughter to bring out some soda, thinking she'd grab one of the 2-liter bottles. She brought me this little tiny bottle. It's already gone. I never thought the time would come that I would say that we had 5 cats, but we have 5 cats right now because we have Bob's 2 and our 3. Although he does everything for his kitties. He really does. We don't have anything at all we need to do for his. And because they're in his room and out on their catio, I hardly see them most of the time, so I don't really count them. But there are 5 in the household. Waiting for Ruth Ann's M&Ms to arrive in my email. All the furrier, yes. Yes. Between the dog, 5 cats, and the goat, we definitely have fur down cut. Owie. Little cringe as I move there. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and get this piece of ribbon out again, this red blue that we've been using. Pretty side up. And we're going to glue this strip onto our ribbon. In fact, yeah, let's just go ahead and do it that way. We're going to glue this strip onto our ribbon. Thank you, honey. You're the best. Oh, yeah, we have a goat at our house, Patrice. His name is Milo. That is right, Mary R. He is Teddy's buddy. And Teddy is Milo's herd. We had Milo and Carmela, but we lost Carmela to cancer last year, so it's just Milo. Goats don't usually like to be alone, so we're watching Milo to see how he did with just having the one goat. But Teddy kind of took over as Milo's herd between Bryce and Teddy. Milo's pretty happy, even though he's just one goat. We've never had one by themselves because they said they're unhappy, but he seems to be doing just fine. Just fine. I haven't given you guys a picture of Milo in a while, evidently. I'll have to include a picture of Milo soon. Maybe a picture with Milo and Teddy. But they're really, really cute together. Super cute together. I have not seen the movie A Purpose of a Dog. Or A Dog's Purpose. Does it have dogs and goats together? Okay. I glued my ribbon onto yeah, I put plenty of glue there and it went right through my ribbon and onto my table, but it's going to be fine. All right, let's cover this card. We'll put down our 3 rows of tape. How do you know when a goat's unhappy? Because a goat will bleat and it will look unhappy. You can absolutely tell what's going on with a goat by watching them, especially if if you spend a lot of time with them and you know them. If our goats are unhappy, if they're not well, if they're not feeling well, or they're unhappy, they'll lower their heads down. They just absolutely look unhappy. Goats are, by their very nature, at least ours always have been, very happy creatures. Kind of dancing around and running the fence line and racing up to get their cookies. And if they're not racing up to get we give them goat cookies. They get, they're actually horse cookies. Apple oatmeal horse cookies. They get them every day. A little treat when Bryce goes out to feed them and tend to them. And if they're not racing up, we know that that's not that everything's not okay with him. And he's doing just fine. He's still peppy and carrying his head nicely, and he's racing up to get his goat cookies and his scratches. Our goats have always been very social creatures. Once they were here for a while, the fact that we feed them by hand and, spoil them a bit, that helps. Okay. We're going to cut ourselves a piece of this backing paper. Our card is 4 1/4 inches wide, so we're going to go 3 7/8 wide on our backer paper and start there. Our card is, 5 7/8 inch long, so we're going to start with just a little over 5 5/8 long. We're going to see how that fits, and it fits beautifully. We're going to glue this piece down to our card. Oh, that's so cute, Mary R. We've had our goats for lots of years now. I don't know how many years in total. We talk about that all the time. We never have really, truly ascertained how many years we've had them. We knew when we got the first pair of goats that they were going to be good grass eaters, but we never imagined that they'd be such satisfactory pets. They really are very happy, very funny, very fun creatures, goats. Okay, I'm going to take my ribbon piece and I'm going to snip it off evenly at the ends, and then I'm going to glue that down. I'll probably put just a touch of glue on the ends again to keep that ribbon from trying to ravel. I'm just going to cut that off and apply my ribbon piece there. That looks good. I actually cut this a little shorter than I wanted to, but here's a trick, because it's like the magic of Hollywood, guys. If you're not going to see it, it doesn't have to be there. So I'm going to I cut this, I'm kind of glad that happened. I cut this a little shorter than I wanted it to be, but it doesn't matter, because if it isn't showing, it doesn't have to be there. I'm just going to cut this piece of ribbon in half, and I'll match it on both ends, and then I'll leave the gap under the topper in the middle, okay? Because it really doesn't have to be there if it doesn't show. I am going to put just a little bit of glue on the ends so that ribbon can't ravel. Now you might be asking, why didn't we wrap this ribbon around? We didn't wrap this ribbon around because this paper is super lightweight. You know, it's not nearly as heavy as most of our cardstock. And because of that, it won't handle the ribbon going underneath very well. So we would have to mount this paper on some cardstock in order to do that. Now we could do that if we wanted to. We could have mounted the paper on cardstock, but why do I want to do that? Yeah. Well, I was just trimming off a little at a time, so I can't believe I cut it too short, but I did. But that's not really a problem, because if you're going to make these mistakes, you always make them with an audience. Always make them when people are watching. And I have lots of opportunities to make mistakes in front of you guys, don't I? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue my ribbons in place. That's what he's telling you. Teddy has turned into such a good watchdog when we're out here. You don't waste mistakes when nobody's watching. Okay, I'll always make them in front of you, okay? I don't actually mind making mistakes in front of you guys, both because you guys are generous about it, because we all do it, and you guys are really accepting of that, and because if I make a mistake, then I can show you how to fix it. So I don't really mind making mistakes because, like I said, you guys are kind about it when I do. So I'm going to put my pretty topper in here. I'm going to get some nice foam squares. I'm going to go around my topper. And I'm going to get that ready to go on here. I'm going to put quite a few foam squares under here, because this is just a thin little border and it's not really attached to much, so I'm going to support this border really well. And your back piece isn't, it's not over the entire, let me just show you that. It's not over. Can you see where the yeah, you can see it in that shot. Well, the center of our frame there, the piece that we salvaged and put in the center, it's not going to be as wide as the frame itself. It's barely covering the opening. But that's fine. Again, if it isn't going to show, it doesn't have to be there, right? So I'm putting these all the way around my frame on the outside, and then I'm actually going to put a couple on that piece of cardstock on the inside to kind of hold that up in the middle too. So now I get to peel all these. Maria, that is a good question. I believe that it is with cloth napkins, but you might be ready with paper. I'm sure she's talking about cloth napkins. I never really thought about that when we talked about it. I'm sure it must be with cloth napkins, though. I was thinking paper napkins, but that doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? She's going to show us how to tie a couple of really pretty napkins for the dinner table. We're going to do all kinds of fun, crafty things. Thank you, Andrea. Okay, let's put this on here. I like this card. It might be one of my favorite from the kit, and knowing that it's made out of leftovers makes it even better. Okay, let's see. We're going to use this Joy off of our topper sheet. I'm going to put a few little foam squares under it and then just position it however it looks the best inside your topper that we created. I put mine to the right last time. I think I'm going to go to the left this time because I think there's just a little difference in which end I cut it off of. And I think it's going to look better on the left this time. So I think I'll go to the left with it this time. Over here. And then we need a few little pearls, because pearls are beautiful with poinsettias. And what did I use this time? I used the blue-green ones. And I just put one in each corner this time. See a little glue line here I need to clean up on the outside of my mirror board. Okay. And there we go. There is our topper set made out of, or our card made out of the salvage pieces. We salvaged the border piece. We used a little piece of ribbon and we made our topper out of the piece we didn't use in the frame and the leftover piece at the end of the poinsettia. And isn't that gorgeous? Yay! Ouch! Oh. Okay, so there we go. That one's done. We're 3 in to our, I think I told you this makes 11 cards. When just before class started, I counted them and I had 12. I don't know which one I didn't show you before, and I know, in fact, I believe that I put in 11 European A6 card bases. So you may need to bring in a little bit of your extra material, extra cards or envelopes. You didn't get ripped off because I only charge you for what I put on the materials list. So I don't know which one I didn't show you before, But, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I did there. Okay, let's make this Christmas tree. Because it's beautiful. It's beautiful. We need our 5x7 card for that. Nope. Not that one, that one. We're going to need our blue cardstock. We'll need our topper sheet. We'll need this piece of blue. I think we'll just go ahead and do the 2 blue trees now. The very first thing I see that I'm going to want to do is tie my little single bow out of my piece of woven iridescent ribbon. Love this color. It's beautiful. This is the little 1/2-inch ribbon. And I need my bow maker. I'm just going to tie a little single for this one, guys. And I think a 5x5 is going to be just the right size. So I'm just tying a single, going across my bow maker, coming back at the 5, coming down through the hole, up here, come back through the front at 0, tie a 1/2 knot. Make sure when I tie the 1/2 knot that the yes, those kitties, they don't appreciate you using the computer. Both my cats and the dog tend to say it's enough of the PC now. Put the PC down and love the critter. Uh-oh, I did that at 4 and 5, but I think I can stretch it. Let me see if I can't get this loop bigger. I did. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to do it again. I looked down and realized I had my bow lopsided because I went through it 4 instead of 5. So I'm going to just fix it. I'm going to go back in and retie it. That's the beauty of tying your own bows, is you can always go through and just retie it when you need to. Okay, here we go. Number 5. Number 5. Down through the hole. Shimmy it up onto the tines. Tie myself a 1/2 knot with the back side of the ribbon towards me. There we go. That's going to be more even. I'm going to like it better. There we go. Sometimes I don't like to tighten them up a lot, you know. Sometimes I like to leave them kind of loose at the knot in the middle. A lot of times with a single I'll do that because I think the knot in the middle is an important part of the bow. So I'm not going to pull this one real tight in the middle. I'm going to leave that kind of square in the middle. And trimming my ends, clipping upward at an angle towards the outside. And now I'm going to put a little bit of best glue ever on here and let this start drying, because it takes that a few minutes to dry. How's your experience been with the best glue ever? Have you guys all tried that? What do you do with your cards? Do you sell them, send them out, people's birthdays, etc.? I give them out all year. There's several things. One thing I do just because of the business is I keep one copy of my cards, one card here until that collection, that topper set sold out, because I may need the sample. But with most cards like these, I'm going to have two because I have the sample card that I made when I was designing the cards to present to you, and then I have the one I make with you. So I have one that's usable right away. And the thing I do with most of my cards, you'd be surprised how many I give out this way. This is my favorite. You guys have heard this before, so forgive me if I'm telling a story you've heard before. My family, that's their favorite gift from me. It's the one they always look forward to, and they always start telling me about August, even September, that they are running out of cards, and they want to make sure that I have made enough that they're going to get their full box. And at Christmas, I'll take a decorative box, just one of those decorative boxes from Michael's or Joann's or wherever. I pick them up after Christmas and get them for a song. I take one of those decorative boxes, I completely fill it with cards for different occasions. Get well, happy birthday, wedding cards, baby cards, birthday cards. I just load it up, probably an average of 30. I'm going to say about 30 cards, maybe even 35. And I fill up my boxes, and I tie it off with a big ribbon at Christmas time, and that's the favorite way, or that's the favorite gift that I give to my family members and my friends. And I'm up to giving I think I give about a dozen of them a year, so that's 350, 400 cards right there. Yeah. So that's what I do with most of my cards. Now, there's other great things you can do with your cards. Most of our vendors do allow you to sell them, so you can sell them. I have sold my cards before. I've sold them through, I had them on consignment at a bookstore, which was a great place to sell my cards because people are in there buying books as gifts, and that I sold a lot of them there. If you're selling them on consignment, you have to figure that the store is going to want 40 to 50% of the proceeds from your card sales. So bear that in mind. A lot of places won't mind showing them for you, though, if they get a commission on them. And it works well for you because you have a place to sell them, and it works well for the store. So you can do that. You're selling yours on eBay. That's awesome. A lot of people are selling on Etsy. And then, like I said, little boutiques and stuff. Now, this year, maybe not such great because people aren't going into stores, but normally that can be a good venue for you. And some of my card maker group, or our Crafty Friends group locally, we've made special purpose or special occasion cards, like we make cards for Veterans Day, and then we made cards and we donated them to a nursing home. And so there's lots and lots of things you can do. There's lots of organizations that will like that. I know that some of our Crafty Friends are making huge numbers of cards for different organizations that are either using them themselves or the organizations are selling them as a fundraiser. So selling to friends and family, absolutely. Okay. That's actually probably about right, Ellen. That's about what we can get here. It depends on the card, of course. One that's really, really fancy schmancy, a little more. Simple, maybe a little less, but that's probably about the average. Okay, let's go ahead and cover this card. We're going to cover it with our blue cardstock. We're going to use the end that does not have the pattern, of course. I like this card. It's just pretty. This is just an example of how a super simple card can just be really, really pretty. Okay. Now, this can go on here any way you want. I happen to have done mine like this. I used this corner up. I could have gone this way. I could have gone this way. But I happen to have gone with the corner, with the darker corner up to the right. Don't know why I like that the best. I just did. So that's what I went with. So I'm going to go ahead and match my cardstock on my background. Cards for soldiers, okay. Oops. There we go. I'm going to flip it over then, and I'm going to found chocolate, sort of. Okay. All right, so I have my card covered. I'm going to take my large topper, the big one, off of this sheet. Alice, if you don't mind to email that information to me, if you would, and I'll put it out there to everybody, or you can put it on our Facebook page. That would be good. Put it on our Facebook page. That'd be awesome if you wouldn't mind doing that, because I've heard that question occasionally, and yeah, we had some trouble finding the organization when we went to do it. So if you could do that, that'd be awesome. Let's do that. Okay, I'm separating the pieces of my frame carefully, pulling those out. I'm going to separate all 3 layers. Okay, I'm going to start by putting some foam squares on the back of my largest topper. Thank you, Alice. I have to tell you, Mary, when I look up there and see Teddy's picture with all of the pictures with everybody, it makes me happy. Your little Teddy avatar there. I love that. Dried glue off Mirri. You can, a baby wipe will sometimes take it off pretty well, Mirri. It's best if we can catch it while it's still a little bit damp. If you catch it while it's damp with a baby wipe, you can usually wipe it right off, then use a dry cloth to dry off your Mirri. This is water-based glue that we usually use on these, so it might take just a little bit of it might take just a little bit of effort to get it off when it's dry, but I think for the most part you probably can still get it off dry. Just don't scratch it. You know, if you scratch it with your nail, all those little scratches are going to show. So, oh, bye, Fiona. I didn't know you were out there. I would have greeted you earlier. Bye, Fiona. See you later, babe. I love that Fiona likes to hang out with us and see what we're doing, just like I like it when Katie and my brain went clunk and stopped. Katie and Kim, Katie and Kelly. Isn't it Kelly? Kelly, I think. Katie and Kelly are out there. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I guess I won't see you again before Thanksgiving Day, but I'm going to create a playlist for you for Thanksgiving of some of my favorite videos that we've done. They'll string together, so if you link into that, it'll go from one video to the next. And I'll put a couple of my favorites out there, so if you want to craft and have your crafty friends with you, you can just run the playlist and craft to your heart's content, and see what we're working on at the time. And which kit did you get for Fiona, Betty? Oh, Alice is heading out too. Bye, Alice. See you later, friend. Oh, this one. Cool. Oh, then she's going to have a blast working on the gnomes. The gnomes are just so darn cute. And they don't have to be real complicated cards for those gnomes to be cute. They're going to be cute no matter what. That's a good choice. That's a great choice. For anybody who didn't get this kit yet, they're just about sold out on the website, but when Brittany was here yesterday, I had her put some more kits together. So you should still be able to get one. If you're interested, there will still be some out there. It isn't always the case. Often when we sell out, we're out because we've used up all the supplies, but we have more of this one. This has been such a popular kit. For good reason. It's absolutely beautiful. Now I'm taking my glue bottle and I'm running my glue right around the edge after I've put my frame down, guys. And that will hold my ring in without getting glue on the back, having to put glue on the back of this and then get glue all over my Mirri getting it in there. So that's a nice tip that's working really well for me, is put the glue down on the paper, just run your glue bottle around the inside and then use that, because we want the center ring in flush then. First one up on the outside on foam squares, then we'll glue down the center one flush. Now we're going to put in our center topper also on foam squares. And it doesn't need as many as our frame did because it's a nice big hefty piece. A couple in the middle and just a few around the edges of this one. What are you thinking before, Mary? What about, oh, the playlist, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can have some good crafty time, and we will definitely have that out there for you. I'll send you an email probably the night before on Wednesday night. Maybe I'll put it in what's... how about if I put the link in What's New Wednesday? Is that okay? For your playlist for Thursday? How about if I do that? Will you guys all find it there? What's New Wednesday in the newsletter? Okay, that's where I'm going to put it, in the What's New Wednesday newsletter. I'll put a link to our playlist. Okay, let's see how our bow's doing. Our bow's doing great. I know that it's done because it's completely clear. We don't see any white left from the glue. It's completely clear. It might be a little darker where it dried, but you only needed a tiny amount of that glue because, as you said earlier, a little bit goes a long ways with the best glue ever. And then I'm going to put my bow down across the bottom of my card. I'm going to put some pearls on. And this time I used the blue pearls, I believe, didn't I? Yeah, yes. I used the blue-green pearls on this one. That's interesting, but that's what I used. The blue-green pearls. I'll use the last 3 of those here. I did 3 of them coming down this side. Why 3? I don't know. It just looks good. I've just found that that works really well. A Pez dispenser that dispenses the squares without the little tear-off pieces. Yeah, that would be, I'd be right there with you. Okay, this is officially our card. But if you have some little jewel dazzles, look what you can do by just adding a few little jewel dazzles to that Christmas tree. I just covered the red ones in a tiny red jewel dazzle. I covered the white ones on the tree with the silver jewel dazzles. And look what a difference it makes in the sparkle and shine. So if you have some jewel dazzles, pop those on there. You should have quite a few of them around if you bought some of our kits through the summer, because we've used them lots of times now. But don't those jewel dazzles make a difference in the appearance of the tree? You absolutely could use gems instead too, absolutely. But decorate that tree. That tree needs a little decoration, don't you suppose? There we go, that one's done. Let's do this one we had left. And this one I did on, I used background paper for this one. Yeah. Oh, okay. I used the double-sided paper for this one. Let me get my double-sided paper out here again. We're going to work on a European A6 card. We're going to need one of our A6 Mirris. That's green. And let's see, find that here. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put inserts in those as we went. Here we go, this one. I'm going to use this card to cover my background. And we're going to put down our 3 rows of tape. I tell you guys, if you haven't tried covering your card this way, this is definitely the way to go. 1, 2, 3 rows of tape. Rub them down. Quick and easy to pull them off because of the finger lift. And just take my paper, line it up so that it lines up on the bottom and the edge. Yep. And I got it a little bit crooked, but it was already stuck to my tape. So you know what I'm going to do there, right? We know exactly what I'm going to do there. I'm going to trim it off after I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. Sometimes once it sticks in the tape, it's just not worth pulling it back up. Just work with it the way it is, unless it's really, really obnoxious. If it's really, really off, sometimes you have to pull it up. But I try not to ever pull it up. Once it goes down, I trim my cards instead of pulling up my tape because it ultimately works out better in the end to trim it off rather than pull it up. Just making sure my card's straight because it looked a little off, and it is. Come on. There we go. All right. It's going through lots of layers there, so it kind of didn't want to go there for a minute. All right. Now, my card, once again, is going to be a little bit narrower than yours. Mine is now right at 4 inches. So I'm going to go to 3 3/4 inches for my layer. Yours should be probably 3 7/8 should get yours done. Mine's going to have to be just a bit tinier because of the fact that I trimmed it down. Length should be the same. Your card is 5 7/8, so we're going to go just a little over 5 5/8. And that should be just right, and it is just right. Now we're going to trim this tree out to fit that frame. So we had 3 3/8. I'm actually going to go to 3 1/4 as my starting point. Maybe even a little over 3 1/4 so that I can kind of center my tree. This should be, no, actually that fits pretty well. Okay, maybe go even a little over 3 1/4, guys. Okay, and I'm going to trim here to start with, and then I'm going to decide where I want to trim it. I'm going to take a tiny bit off the bottom and a tiny bit off the top. You know that a lot of times what I'll do is cut it a little bit bigger and then start trimming it back until I get it right where I want it. That looks great though. That looks great. I'm going to go with that. Let me tell you what my finished dimensions were. Now mine's a little narrower, mind you, because I had to trim my card. So mine ends up being 3 3/8 wide by 5 1/4 long from the For What It's Worth department, because again, mine might be a little different than yours. Kathy girl, I'm holding up here, Kathy. I'll hold up. A DL should not require extra postage, Mary R. A DL should not require extra postage because it's rectangular and it's within the dimensions of our bill envelopes. So you should not require extra postage for DL. Unless it's overweight, of course. If it's overweight, you have to pay for the ounces. If it's over 1 ounce, you'll have to pay for the ounces. I'm just going to glue this together, then I'm going to hang on here. So right now I have my topper cut, I have my mirror board cut, I'm just gluing my pieces together, and then we're just going to take a little pop break. Let everybody catch up. I like that suggestion, Thelma. 1 for tracking well and 2 for need time. I like that a lot. Even if 5 became finishing my brownie and 12 became cleaning up a hairball. That just makes it all the more fun, really. What makes best glue ever better than others? That is a most awesome question, Patrice. Most of us have used glue dots to put bows and buttons and those kinds of things onto our cards, right? And did you ever notice that if something's going to fall off your card, it tends to be the bow? And the reason for that is that the bow has lots of fibers in it, doesn't it? And the fibers just don't allow it to stick as well. What makes the best glue ever the best for this job is that best glue ever dries into a glue dot, but it goes on in liquid form. So what happens is you put the best glue ever on, and it's wet, and it grabs all those little fibers, and then it dries, and the glue dot becomes part of the bow. So when you put it on your card, you never did really have problems with the glue dot falling off the paper. You had problems with the glue dot falling off the bow. When you put it on your card, that bow is there to stay. It's not going anywhere because the glue is actually now part of the bow. Okay, see you in a minute, Diane. Okay, let's go ahead and put our topper on here. We're going to use the little blue one that says just for you. Oop. We're going to put some foam squares on the back of that. I don't ever want you guys to feel rushed in this class, so use that number 2 key or tell me, Debbie, stop. And we can always do that. There's always something to talk about. Especially if you're me. There's always something to talk about. So we can absolutely take a little stop break as necessary. It is good stuff. It really is. It's the best material you can get for putting bows on. Now, I don't necessarily recommend it for everything. I do not recommend the best glue ever necessarily as a glue for your delicate toppers and things that, you know, have a tremendous amount of detail. I'd rather use my water-based glue for that. And I'm going to put it on this side this time because I'm leaned a little heavier on one side. I'm going to use my water-based glue for that so I can clean off any extra glue. What you don't want is it being all sticky on the front when that best glue ever dries into a glue dot, right? So mostly what I use my best glue ever for is my ribbon. And one of these tubes is going to last you pretty much almost forever because of the tiny, tiny amount you put on. But that's what makes it the best. There we go. Decorated and undecorated versions of my tree. There's my decoration showing. You can see all the little sparkles. You could also do this with some stickles. Oh yeah, acetate. Good point, Betty Gosel. It's most awesome on acetate too. Bye, Elsie. Glad you were able to stop and visit with us. Welcome anytime, friend. Okay, so there we go. All right. So be sure you put some additional embellishments on that tree because it really wants them. All right, I think it's time to do some stockings. Let's do this card next. Isn't that pretty? We're going to use this whole piece of cardstock just on this one card. But it's so pretty when we're done. Okay, I think I'll clean up a little bit of my scraps out of my space here so I can see what I'm doing. Move some of those out of my way. Move some of these out of my way. Got some nice pieces for tags and things there. Oh, absolutely. You can use some Nouveau drops. This is what I did. I use Nouveau drops would be awesome. What I did with this is I used little jewel dazzles from hot off the press. And I used red and silver. The holographic really, really grabs the light. But jewel dazzles, rhinestones, stickles, your Nouveau drops. Yeah, just don't leave the tree undecorated because, you know, this one, it's a beautiful card, but it's kind of dull by comparison with just the tree. And then you have this one that has all the sparkle and shine. So don't leave the tree undecorated. Decorate it with something you've got there. Cats eat the tinsel and no tinsel on trees. Oh, yeah. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Kids, too. Ooh. Tinsel. Yuck. Okay. My mom used to put tinsel on our tree when we were little. That was one thing she insisted on. But she wanted us to help decorate the tree, and she was never happy with our placement of the tinsel. So I was just glad when tinsel kind of went out of style. Because, yuck, I don't have the patience for that. That's not fun. Okay, let's see. We need our topper. This great big topper is what we're going to use. This is a big one. We're also going to use the Merry Christmas off of this sheet. Let me tell you why I always tell you to push your toppers towards the out, push them out rather than punching them back. See that little snag I got on the back of my topper? So it's snagged on the back, but it didn't snag my foiling at all. So that's why I always tell you to push these towards the front. Because if you're going to have a piece of paper that hangs up, you don't want that tearing your pretty foiling. Okay, let's see. So we got that. Now we need this big piece of cardstock. So let's find that. Then after we do this, I think we should put inserts in a few of our cards just so we can talk about inserting. Is this the one I want? No. This is not. Is it? No. I don't think that's the one I want. I think it's the other one. Well, that's gnomes back there. No. That's not it. Oh. No, I guess that is it. Okay. Okay. All right, let me think here how we did this. Okay, we are going to start. Yeah, I know what I did. We are going to start with building up our topper on a separate sheet of paper. So let's get that working paper out. That's the one that does not have a crease. And let me tell you why I like to do this. I want this piece to hang over, and I don't like it when I have these. Well, one thing, I wanted to be able to build this in different layers, and it would be pretty hard to do that and have it hanging over the edge. And secondly, I don't like just loose pieces hanging over the edge wherever I can help it. Now sometimes the it just works if you're using like an over the edge die or something. It actually works to have a piece hanging over the edge. But with toppers, I prefer to build them up on a separate sheet so I can do whatever I want and still have the weight of having that be a nice solid piece. So I'm going to build my topper sheet on this piece of cardstock that was in your kit. I'm going to take my topper set apart. And this time what I did, you can do it however you like, but what I did is I glued the 2 outside rings down solid to my cardstock, and then I put the inside up on some foam squares. You can do that however you like, but this is what I did. So I'm gonna have to fill up my favorite glue bottle. I got the nicest little email from our friend Merlin, Mass, and talking about these little glue bottles. She said that because I recommended them, she got them, and then she had it sitting on her craft table for the longest time, and she did what most crafters do, and she lost it over time. So she, even though she hadn't tried it yet, she bought another one, and she had 2. And she finally put some glue in it and tried it, and she wonders how she ever lived without this little glue bottle. These little glue bottles are in our store for $2, guys, $2. You'll see them for sale for up to $5 a piece. They're the same kinds that often come in quilling kits and that kind of thing. And you can see those for sale up to $5. We got them for $2 in our store. And I like to use mine with one of a couple different kinds of adhesives. You don't want to use anything as thick as tacky because it won't come down the spout. And it will jam. It will be drying in the tip all the time. And you don't want to use anything as viscous, as liquidy as like Elmer's. That's a little too thin. So the adhesives that I found that I like the best are either the Cosmic Shimmer glue that we have in the store. We have that in all different size bottles. But for refilling my little glue bottle, I like to use the biggest one I can, and then I fill all my glue bottles at once. If you don't, I also like, I don't know what I was starting to say there. I lost it. I also like the this glue bottle from Art Glitter. This is another one that's really, really good for filling your glue bottle. And it's nice because it's in a nice big refill bottle. One thing I like about this one is that it caps off really tight, and you don't have to feel like you need to fill all your glue bottles at once, which is kind of what I have to do with my Cosmic Shimmer, because I don't like the way the caps go back on them after you open them, especially in the big 125 milliliter bottle. Cosmic Shimmer is actually my favorite glue, but the one downside is I really don't like the dispenser tip on their bottle, and I can never get it to cap off tight. So I wait until all my glue bottles are about empty, then I fill everything at once. Okay, so I'm putting in my one that's up on foam squares. And I'm going to try and do it straight. There we go. I like that. That looks good. I'm going to cut around it. The art glitter really works well too. It does. Probably, Patrice, the fact that that's the one I've gotten used to using before I started carrying the art glitter. That's the honest truth. I think they're probably one's as good as the other, but Cosmic Shimmer is my favorite just because it's the one I've gotten used to using. Yeah, the easiest way to find something is to buy a new one. That is absolute truth right there. That is truth. Okay, now I want to get my other DL card out, and we're going to fold it as normal. And then once we have folded it, I want you to take your front cover and fold it back to the fold on the card. So how's that for an easy card base to create? We're just taking the front cover and we're folding it back. Okay. Now, I think I actually, in my original sample, I used one of those talls. This time I'm using a DL, so it's going to be a little narrower. I'm going to cover my back cover of my card using this piece right here. By the way, I love the way this matches up, and you hardly see it at all once you put the topper on. But isn't this pretty? The way the fold comes right down this line, right down this gold line, and you've got that knitting right inside. I think that's very pretty. So I'm going to cover my back cover of my card just using my normal method. I'm going to put down 3 rows of tape. So I'm working inside my card now. My front cover is folded back and I'm working inside my card. And I'm going to take this piece of cardstock right here. My stocking is up. And I'm going to put this piece of cardstock right here inside the fold and to the back of my card. Right here. Just like that. And now I'm going to trim around it. Just like I would if I were covering my card. There we go. We have this. Now we're going to cut ourselves a couple of pieces to cover these covers. I want the piece on, I want this piece to cover my front cover, which is now half size. So I'm going to use this one to cover my front cover. So I'm going to put a couple rows of tape there, probably not 3 just because it's such a narrow piece. Okay, and I'm going to put this here. Okay. Beautiful. I had a little piece of tape I knew was going to be sticking up there, so I just clipped it. And I'm going to take my tape off. And I'm going to cover this front cover with this piece just lined up right along my edge here. And at the top, bring that down straight. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to cut around that one. Now I do not have to put, now I've got this, I don't have to put anything in here if I don't want to. On my sample card I did. I just put in a little bordered piece. It's up to you. There is one advantage to leaving this uncovered, and that is you could write on this with a regular pen. With this, you're going to have to write on it with a Sharpie marker because of the glossy paper. But it's up to you what you want to do. Okay? You can do it like this, or you can do it like this. Now, we have this nice long piece left, and I can just as easily come in here and cover that entire panel or trim it like I did the last one. I'm going to go ahead and trim off my other stocking at this point just because it'll make this piece easier to use. How are you doing for time, honey?
You're about 2 hours.
About 2 hours? Okay. We'll have to decide what we still want to make. We still have up to 6 cards after this one we can make. But I don't think we have to make all of them on camera. Maybe we decide which ones you guys want to do. Okay. I'm going to trim this with my trimmer since I trimmed it with my scissors, and I'm going to get myself a nice straight edge. It's actually not bad at all. So that gives me a nice straight edge. And I'll go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and cover it, I think. I'm going to go ahead and put some tape down here on the inside cover. Two rows. Okay. You could do a 5x5 in a 5x7 envelope. I don't know how you're going to get a 6x6 into a 5x7, Mary. Do the 5x5 inside a 5. Yeah, Andre's asking the same question. I think you mean a 5x5. Okay. That's one of the reasons why, Patrice, we like the European A6, and you see me use those so much, because the European paper sizes are different than our US paper sizes. For 8.5 by 11, I agree that an A2 is a perfect size. When you're doing a, when you're using the European cards, though, their base cardstock, instead of being 8.5 by 11, is 8.25 by 11 3/4. So one sheet of European cardstock will create faces for up to 4 of the European A6 cards. So we're using European A6 for the same reason that you're using A2s. Okay, we can now put this one on here. I think this is a really elegant looking card. I think it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I think you guys were talking about these Victorian images a minute ago. I'm only going to put glue on half though, right guys? I'm only coming to the halfway point with my glue, because only the left side of this gets glued down. The right side hangs off. I am going to put plenty of glue. Even though I don't have a heavy coat, I'm putting plenty of glue on my left side though. And then I'm going to center it between my two edges. And my glue worked out just right. Looks like I didn't get it quite centered top to bottom though, so I'm coming back off and move it up just a little. You should have about a 1/2 inch at the top and a 1/2 inch at the bottom if it's straight. There you go. Okay, this time I'm going to use the pearls that are the kind of steely blue. Oh, they look so good with this. Steely blue, almost purple, which makes them great. Steely blue on this one. And I put 3 on the bottom. I put 3 in the upper right-hand corner. Now I'm going to the lower left-hand corner and I'm going to put 3 here. And we will have created a real thing of beauty with this card, I think. Okay. Here we go. Beautiful. Isn't that just a pretty, pretty card? I love it. Last time I used the talls, so you can see it's slightly bigger, just slightly. It's slightly bigger. I trimmed down the height. That is also really nice. Yes, because I have to constantly be thinking about the dimensions of the European A6 card. That is true. And everything with an A2 is on 1/4 inches, where these get into 1/8 with the European A6s. But I do love that out of 1 sheet of Adorable Scoreable, I can get 4 card faces. So there's something to be said for that. Okay, we are down to these cards left. We already have this one cut off, but that doesn't mean that's what we have to do. Is there any one in particular of these? Let's call these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is there any one of these that you look at these? Let me turn them around the other way and get stuff out from underneath them, so you can see them better. So I'll change my numbering system here too. Let's move that glue bottle out of the way. Okay. Is there any of these that you would like to see, specifically like to see demoed? I forgot to put this on my other card. Let's get that in there. I think that's one of the beauties of taking things out. I wanted to put this on the inside here because it looks beautiful there. So, a little bit of glue. Whoop. Try and hang on to it. It looks really pretty inside. There we go. Okay, now, what? I should have showed it to you too. Sorry. There we go. That looks beautiful inside, I think. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tell me which number you want. The round one? This one. Okay. Is there one other you want to do? Can you demo the red bow one? Yeah. Number 3, please. Okay. All right. Good. Good, good. All right. I think all of these we can do fairly quickly, so let's just do it. Okay, the red bow one. Yes. You should have a piece of red satin in your bow kit, on your ribbon kit. We'll grab that piece of satin. Number 4. I don't know which one was number 4 now. Okay, number 4. Was that, which one was that, guys? Okay, let me see. Is that this one? Was that this one? Round one was number 4. This one. Okay, we're going to do all 3 of these. Okay. All right. Okay, we're starting with the red satin one. We are going to tie our bow first. Left hand. I don't know what our numbers looked like before. Okay. Was it one of these 3, Ruth Ann? Or was it one of these? You guys are going to convince me to do all these cards yet, aren't you? Okay. These are already, we are definitely doing these 3. Is there another of these that you were asking? This one right here? Yes, this one? Okay, you got it. We're going to do 10 cards today then, but we'll do these 4. Okay, here we go. Alrighty. Let's tie this red bow. I'm going to allow myself a little bit of extra tail because I'm wrapping it around the corner. I'm going to tie what I call my 5-1-5 bow. I'm going to go around number 5 in my tines. I'm going to come back through number 5. I'm going to come across my bow maker to number 1, which is the first big tine. I'm going to go around that. And I'm going to come back around that on the other side, because whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Now I'm going to come back to number 5. And I'm going to come back up under at number 5. And it looks like a hot mess at this point, but it's not. I'm going to take this end down through the hole in my bow maker. I'm going to shimmy that ribbon up a little bit, and I'm going to come back at what we call 0 between the 2 ends. The tines, there's a little gap in the middle. We come back through there, and I'm going to tie this off. Now this is single-sided ribbon, so as I tie my half knot, I'm just tying a half knot like I was starting to tie my shoes. I want to twist my ribbon so that the non-shiny side is facing me. The side that does not shine is facing me. I'm going to pull it tight. I'm going to slide my bow off my bow maker. And I already have it pretty tight today. Now I'm going to reach in and I'm going to pull. One of my little loops will be inside my bigger loop. I'm going to reach in, I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to reach in and pull that out. And then this satin can be really slippery to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit right here. In order to keep my loops of my bow where I want them to be, I'm going to put a little bit of my tape on the back, just to hold those pieces right where I want them. I think my cameraman will protest before we get to the gnomes and the embossing folder and the die. You're funny. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to pull my little loops on my bow out, and I'm going to put a tape right across the back there to hold those right where I want them to be. Then I'm going to set this bow aside for a second. Could I do this with the best glue ever? I probably could. I probably won't, because the best glue ever takes a while to dry. That's why when I'm tying a bow for a card, I usually start with the bow first if I'm going to put best glue ever on it, because it takes a while to dry, and the glue is almost useless until it's dried. Okay, I'm going to set that bow aside for a minute now. I'm going to get out my cardstock that has my mulled wine or spiced cider on it. I told you guys we were going to line a card too. We'll still do that. Maybe we'll line this one since there's the liner to it. Okay. This time I'm using the cardstock. Isn't that beautiful, by the way? That is just wonderful. Love the little bow comb. So glad I bought it from you. Oh, good. Good, good, good. I'm so glad you're enjoying that. It's just amazing, isn't it? It's a ridiculous price. Let me just say the obvious. It is a ridiculous price for a piece of plastic, those bow combs, but it's just one of the best tools I've got. In fact, one of the things we're going to talk about during our party next week, one of my questions to share is what are your indispensable craft tools? What are the things you just couldn't live without? And my bow maker is one of mine. I just have to have my bow maker. We're going to need one of these pieces of mirror board. And I'm going to need one of my A6 cards. What did I do with them? There they are. Need one of my A6 cards. I know that my A6 card is... I'm going to actually cut this piece of cardstock right in half at this point. Guys, you know how we were talking just a minute ago about how you can get 4 cards out of one piece of cardstock? Look here. Oops. Watch while I stick my finger in that tape. That's not really what I was going to show you. Here's my piece of A4 cardstock, European A4. Look here. All 4 of these cards are made using this one piece of cardstock. That's why I use European A6. Isn't that something? Caterpillar's another one of mine too, Ruth Ann. At the risk of giving away everything I'm going to talk about next week, I have 3 indispensable craft tools. They're right here. This, and this are my indispensable craft tools. I can use almost any cheap pair of scissors as long as I've got my scissor sharpener that I use right before I start crafting. I've got, the Diet Coke is a given. That's a life tool, not a crafting tool. My bow maker and my trimmer. Those are the 3 things I use absolutely every day. Every day. Those are the 3 things I have to craft. There's lots and lots of tools I like. My luge, yeah, my luge. I love my glue bottle too. Man, you do tempt me. My glue bottle probably should be in there too. Yeah, because I do love my glue bottle. I have some glue bottles that have fine tips, but nothing as good as this. And I do use this every day, so good point. Good point. But anyway, that's why I use European A6 cards, Patrice, right there. That's why. So I'm going to start by cutting this piece of cardstock in half. In fact, in quarters, because we're going to use all 4 of them on different A6 cards. So I might as well get my cutting done right now. My cardstock is 8 1/4 wide, so I'm going to want these to to cut this, I'm going to want 4 1/4. It just actually very slightly more than 4 1/4 because it's not exactly 8 1/2. So I'm going to do just a tiny, no, it's not 4 1/4, it's 4 1/8. Just a little over 4 1/8, right there between 4 1/8 and 4 1/4. And then this is 11 3/4 long, which makes it 5 7/8 to cut it. So I'm going to cut it at 5 7/8. And this is going to be at 5 7/8. So they're perfectly cut lengthwise. Let's see how I did. Oh, look, there they are. Just a little over 4 1/8 by 5 7/8, and I got a pretty perfect cut on that one, which is a nice change of pace from what I do when I'm when I'm screwing up a lot of the time. Okay, now I'm going to cover in fact, I could actually sit here, if I want to do mass production, I could cover all 4 of my card blanks with Mirri because I see that all 4 of these were using mirror board. So why not? We'll just save some time here and I'll go ahead and cover all 4 of these cards with Mirri. I don't think there's any reason I would not want to do that right now, so I'm going to do that. When I make cards that are not complete Hunkydory kits, my biggest challenge is making inserts. Remind me of that when we finish Mirri Glasson, and I will make some recommendation to you. And they make square cards across the pond because they don't, yeah, right. They do make a lot of square cards, and I love the look of a lot of the square ones. But I agree, I don't love paying the postage for them. I still make them. What are the dimensions of European A6? And you said, never mind, I'll get confused. Something shouldn't be known. I can tell you, a European A4 card, that's the big sheet, this, is approximately 8 1/4 by 11 3/4. These cards are 1/4 of that. So the card itself is 4 1/8 by 5 7/8. This card is. So I'm going to go ahead and cover all 4 of my cards just because it's probably faster to do it this way. Don't let me forget to answer that question for you though, Mary, because I do have a good idea for you. Okay, my next one made me remember. You get some of those snowman toppers yet? Yes. Here's what I did, Annette. I had 1 sheet of snow stickers left, so I couldn't put all the kits together. But I had Brittany finish 1 snowman card kit, so you can have it right now. So I need to figure out what she did with that one, and then I will list it for you, and I will send you a link so that you can get it immediately, and you're the one who gets it, okay? Because I don't want it to accidentally sell to somebody else, so we need to talk right when I put it up so that you can grab that, or I'll call you and we can take care of it by phone maybe. But I want to make sure you get it because you were so disappointed that you missed that one. We will have more of the snowman kits coming. I just had to order some more of the snowflake, the silver mirror snowflake stickers. in order to be able to do them. Fortunately, that particular distributor gets things here in a week, so Brittany's anticipating finishing those kits when she comes in next week. But we should be able to do yours before then, Annette, because I think yours is done. I'll take good care of you. I'm here for you guys. I hear you when you say something disappoints you, because I never want to disappoint you. I want you to be happy, happy, happy. It's a whole other language, you know, because all of their stuff is in centimeters. So converting that to inches, sometimes we get really different measures than we're used to for our cards. I can tell you that the European A6 is their equivalent of our A2. You know how our A2 is a quarter fold? So if you take one sheet of typing paper, you know, our 8.5 by 11 typing paper, you fold it in four, you know, in a quarter, you end up with an A2 card. It's the same thing with the Europeans and the A4, A6. So they're doing the same thing, they're just doing it in their measures. I know it wasn't us before, but I still don't like you to be disappointed. Yeah, it's okay. One of the things that you can do where you're working, Patrice, with all A4s is you could make your margins a little bit wider. You know, your card's going to be just a little bit shorter, and your margins are going to end up being just a little bit wider in order to be able to. There you go. That's one of the good things you can do right there, Mary R, is print Hunkydory images. That is absolutely true. You can use other lightweight papers that you like to print. You can always do that. And then the one that I want to show you is called the Trim Me packs, and some of you may be familiar with Trim Me, but that's the one I'm going to show her for inserting your cards. Okay, let's see. So we're working on the mulled wine. I have all these different cards out here. Let me move those out of my way for a minute. And we're focused on this one. I'm going to trim this one down a little bit because right now it's exactly the same size as my card because it was 1/4 of a sheet. So I'm going to trim this down a little bit. Because it's already fairly tight on this side, I'm going to take my trim off of this side and off of the top. And I'm going to cut about 1/4 of an inch off. I'm going to make it 4 inches wide, or 4 inches tall. Let me try that. 4 inches tall. I'm going to start here anyway, by 5 and just a little over 5/8. 5 5/8, just a tiny bit over that. And that would give me 1/8 borders all the way around. I'm going to take my ribbon that we tied, and we have remember we have the tape on the back. I'm going to pull my ribbon out straight, so my ends are coming straight off of that ribbon, that bow that we've tied. And I'm going to bring it up here. I am going to put a little bit of tape on it, down the sides. Excuse me.
Did you answer the question about when you're doing the Beatrice Potter class?
I have not answered to Beatrice Potter yet. I have to get the calendar out and look at it. I think it's between Christmas and New Year's, in that general time frame. I believe that. Because in the early part of December, we still have a couple of gift classes, gift possibilities for you. My distributor has notified me that my paint is on the way. Yay, us. So we'll be doing the coaster class here soon. Hopefully they'll get it here post haste. And as soon as that comes in, we're going to do the coaster class, because several people have told me they're interested in those as gifts for Christmas. So I want to get those done early on. I'm taking my ribbon, I'm putting it across my card, and I'm folding my edges over the back. Like that. What's Beatrice Potter? Diane asks. Beatrice Potter was a writer in the early 1900s. She was one of the first women to get published, and she created a set of children's stories. Can you hand me that book right there? Margie brought me her book because I kept talking about Beatrice Potter and how much I love Beatrice Potter. So she brought me her storybook. Yes, a writer and an illustrator. Exactly true. And she wrote the story of Peter Rabbit. She also wrote other charming critters. There's Peter Rabbit, who couldn't help himself but get into Mr. McGregor's garden. It's full of just really beautiful artistry. This is Timmy Tiptoes, the squirrel. And we have, what's Mrs. Mouse's name? I can't remember Mrs. Mouse's name. Somebody might be able to tell me. I just didn't stop. And we've got the other bunnies, and we've got, oh, they're just beautiful. This is Mrs. Tiggy Winkle. This is the example I was showing you earlier on. Mr. Jeremy Fisher, the frog. Anyway, it's all these stories, Tom the kitten, and she did these beautiful stories and illustrations that were published, and her work has lived on and on and on and on and on. And we have some CDs in our store that are Beatrice Potter, and we are going to be making some card sets. I want to show you how to use those CDs because they're beautiful, and we're going to make some wonderful cards using print-it-yourself materials. So that's what we're doing with Beatrice Potter. And I love, love, love me some Beatrice Potter. I brought up one of the CDs recently just because we've had them for a while. When Crafter's Companion used to be licensed to sell Beatrice Potter, and these larger companies will license with a specific artist for a period of time, and then when their license runs out, they have to decide, are we going to continue with this artist or move on to somebody else? And when they moved on to somebody else, I bought out what they had in the Beatrice Potter line that was here in the United States. You probably won't find the Beatrice Potter stuff from Crafter's Companion anywhere else, because when they discontinued it, they offered me a really good deal to take it all, and I took everything. And we still have it. Okay. All right. There we go. This card. Now we need our pearls. Whatever I've done with them. They're here somewhere. I've seen them. No, they're not at my left because that would be too logical. There's the pearl package. But what did I do with the pearls? Come on. Pearl toppers. Here they are. I don't know how they ended up clear. They were at my left. Okay. All right. And this time I used the true pearly pearls, the bottom, I think they're the bottom row. It's either the bottom or the top, depending on the orientation of your package. And I put 3 across. Oops. I put 3 across. Then I brought 2 more down, so I have a full corner. And I put 1 in each of the brown corners because I thought that would be pretty to bring that back into the design. And there we go. It's a little different color ribbon than what I used before. I didn't realize that till we just made it, but beautiful. Okay, please link the colored pearls. I will do that. I will link the pastel pearls for you. Okay, that one's, oh, we said we were going to line it. Let's line that before we move on. This one I already did, but let's line our sample card here. I told you I'd do that. Okay, so it's easy to cut a liner. If that liner's at the top of the card, I would say stick it in there, cut around it, then tape it down, or tape it down, then cut around it. But when it's in the wrong position, you can't do that. What I do then is I put it in there with the part I want. You know me, I don't like to measure things if I don't have to. I put it in my card, I hold it firmly, I cut around it. I will say I only usually insert one side of my paper on the inside of my card. I know a lot of people like to do two, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. If you want to do that, fold your paper before you put it in and tape one side only. Trust me when I say that, tape one side only, because it will do all kinds of weird ripply things to you on the inside if you try and tape both the top and the bottom sides. You only want one side. So I have a perfectly cut insert. Now all I have to do is tape it in. And I usually only, you can tape both sides if you want to, but on mine I usually only tape the fold side. So I'll take that paper I just cut, I will insert it, then I'll check it and make sure that I inserted it absolutely straight. If I have any little extras at all, I'll take my scissors and kind of trim along there, get rid of any little extra scraps I have, and my card is inserted. That's how fast and easy it can be to put a beautiful insert in. But look how finished this looks. You got your card, they pull it out to read the greeting, and they see the beautiful insert inside. Tape flags. You want me to talk about tape flags or use tape flags to put it in? Is that your thought? You can use tape flags to put it in. Okay, let's move on. We are next going to do this card, the circle card you wanted. So
We're at 2 hours and 50 minutes.
yes, I told. Well, we're down to the final stretch. We actually eliminated a couple that we're not doing. I asked them which ones were their preferences of what we had left, and they chose 4 of 6.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, I'm going to cut this to just a little under 4. And I'm going to cut this to a little over 5 1/8. And let's see how that looks. That looks pretty good. I think I'm going to take just a tiny bit more off of my 4-inch measure. I'm actually going to 3 7/8. So 3 7/8 by 5 7/8. I don't know why I ever question myself on that, because that really is the measure that I want for these toppers usually. Now, before I put this down, I'm going to tie myself a bow. So let's get our gold. Look at this gold woven ribbon. This is just spectacular. This is the first time I've used it. I ordered it. It's a May Art ribbon. I ordered it and I was really, really happy with the look of it, but I was a little worried that the weight might not tie well. Oh, okay. So I wasn't sure, and then I tied this for this card, and I thought, oh, I really like this. You're going to see a lot more of this ribbon, I think. It's kind of expensive to buy it by the spool, let me tell you that, but I will include pieces of it in a lot of the kits. It's going to be expensive to buy it by the spool if you want the spool, though. I just need to tell you that, because it is kind of a spendy ribbon. But it's beautiful. And I don't know if you noticed that I'm not hesitant about using spendy materials in your kits, just so that we can get the effects that we want, because, heck, why not? If I can distribute that cost over a large number of items, sometimes it doesn't seem so bad, you know. I still have enough of this left for another one. Okay. I've got this beautiful bow tied. I can tighten it in the middle if I want to. But look at that pretty ribbon. Isn't that gorgeous? It's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this ribbon on now. I'm going to run a piece of tape down my ribbon so I can run it over the edges and secure it in the back. Uh-oh. This time it doesn't want to release from the paper. So when it does that to me, I tear it in the middle and pull it both directions, my tape, because sometimes it just doesn't want to hang on. So I'm going to tear this side in the middle, pull it both directions, and that leaves the tape actually on the ribbon. And let's see how far up we place this. It looks to me like we place this up about 1 1/8 inches. So I'm going to do that. Now, what I did with this one is a little different, and it does look good. I actually tied this one. I didn't tie the ribbon into the. I didn't tie the bow in the middle of the ribbon. I actually wrapped the ribbon and then tied the bow and glued it on. You can do it either way. If I want those tails, I can still do it this way and just cut the tails and put them in if I want to. In the interest of time, I did it this way because I didn't have to wait for the glue to dry that way. But if I wanted to insert tails on these, I could. I could either take a piece of ribbon and secure it in there. I'm not actually securing it right this second, but let me show you what I'm talking about. I could still put tails on that tied in ribbon if I wanted to by securing a piece of ribbon right here and then trimming my tails the way I like them, so I could still end up with those. Okay, or I don't have to use it, but I could use it. Let's see how our tag's gonna look hanging down from there. We have this little tiny tag that says "with love." Let's find that on our topper sheet. Oh, wrong stack. It does look nice with the tails hanging down. I think it's going to look okay this way too, though. If you really want the tails hanging down, you can either wrap your ribbon and then glue your bow on, like I did last time, or you can attach the tails. Either way is going to work. I'm going to do it this way this time, just in the interest of time. So I'm going to put a little piece of tape on here on my "with love." Putting it right side up is probably a good idea, which I almost didn't do. Still going to have my tag come down from my bow as if it were tied into the bow. I'm going to get my topper now. I'm going to use my round one. And we're going to glue the ring, the outside ring flush, put the inside ring up on some foam squares. As soon as I figure out what I did with the foam squares. What is easy peely? Somebody want to explain what easy peely is? You guys probably get tired of hearing me talk. Good explanation, Mary. That's nice. It does look like, easy peelies do look like vellum. We get easy peelies from Craft Style, the company that's making our 300 GSM cards for us now. They're wonderful, by the way. And the easy peelies, most of those verses were actually written by the staff at Craft Style. They wrote a bunch of different verses that are usable for different occasions, and they they have a set for Christmas, they have a set for birthdays, and they have an all occasion set. And it's all different kinds of sentiments for every occasion. And they're really beautifully written. So if you have problems with what to put on the inside of your card, it's just a terrific way to get a really nicely worded, pretty sentiment. And because they're printed on clear paper, when you lift them off and you put them inside your card, they will let whatever you have for an insert already show. So for example, with this one where we already have this insert here, when I put my Easy Peely over the top of it, it will look like it's been typed on. But you'll still see the image underneath. They're really beautifully written. I'll put a link in the newsletter to those so that you can see them. They're really nicely done. I'd grab one and put it in here, but I'm not sure where mine are at this particular moment in time. They might be in my insert drawer, and if they are, then I'll demonstrate one of those when I show you the Trim Me papers I was talking about for inserts. Okay, we need pearls. Look how much different the pearl makes on this card. This is without, and this is with. Look how much just that little accent does to make this card look finished. Isn't that something? It's that little bit extra. Those little pearls just really finish it, I think. You haven't seen me do a lot with pearls in the past. Okay, we're going to kind of use the yellowish ones right from the middle. They don't really look yellow when you put them down. There isn't really anything to compare them to, but they look yellow in comparison to the other pearls on the sheet. They just look like pearls. Let me put them in here. But they look really good on this brown. I didn't use the pink ones on any of our samples, and you certainly could. There's lots of pink in this set, especially on the poinsettia flowers. But to me, these colors looked a little bit more vintage, so I tended to go with the other colors and not so much with the others. So there's our two versions of that with the bow. In this case, I have to say I think I prefer the bow that's been glued down on top using the best glue ever, as opposed to the one that's just tied in line. I think the little tails add just a little something, but they're beautiful either way. Okay, that's done. Next, one up. Oh, I love this one. We're going to do one of these with Warm Wishes. We're going to go ahead and cut the dimensions to the same ones we had last time. We're going to have 4 and just a little over 5/8, and we're going to have 3 and 7/8 high. And let's see how that looks. Once again, we have perfect dimensions. This will be a pretty quick and easy one to do as soon as I figure out what I did with that ribbon. There it is. Okay, you will find in your kits that you might have different ribbon. We have two cards that are both using this sparkle ribbon. And when I went to put the kits together, I didn't immediately have enough of this, so I put some of this color here, which is also just spectacular with this. So I'm gonna do this one, I think, in the satin. And once again, I'm gonna tie in the inline bow. So I'm gonna leave myself a little bit of tail to wrap around my card. I'm going to tie a 5-1-5 bow, starting at 5, coming back through 5. I'm going to go to 1. I'm going to come back to 1 because what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. I'm going to go to 5. Looks like a mess, but it's not. Down through the hole, Shimmy everything up a little bit on the bow maker. Tie a half knot. Making sure that the shiny side of the ribbon is down, which will make it face the front of the card when we pull it off the bow maker. Slide that off. We have a beautiful bow started here. We're going to pull our little, I still always want to call them petals. And pull the little loops of the bow out of the big one. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go a little bit fast here, guys, just because we've been at this a while. So you can always rewind and catch up, okay? So I'm going to put a little piece of tape on here. I'm going to tear my tape both directions to expose my adhesive. I have a little bit of tape wrapping over the edge, so I'm going to fold that back on itself. I'm going to position my extra, my wraparound piece kind of over that tape so it pulls out straight. I'm going to put a little piece of tape on the back here. Yeah, we'll do one of these with Trimmy if we have a Christmas one. Otherwise, I'll just show you how they work. Okay. I'm going to tear the tape. I'm going to pull my working piece out. I'm going to wrap this before I put it down. This is a beautiful color with this. It might be a substitute, but how's that for a substitute? Isn't that gorgeous? Now I'm going to put some tape on the back of here so that I can wrap it around my card. I'm going to push my tape down onto my ribbon. I'm going to tear it in the center. Pull it back both directions to make sure that the tape stays on the ribbon. I'm going to grab this piece that we trimmed. I want the bow to be kind of centered at the side and about an inch down maybe. Maybe a little less than an inch. How far down is that one? I like the way that goes. No, it's about there. I'm going to say it's 5/8 inches down on my card. I'm going to wrap this around and I'm going to trim it.
Yep, cool.
I have to shape my legs.
I'm going to cut this off. Well, I'm glad we could give you a helpful hint. That's what I like to see. I like to see I like to see that what we're doing is useful to you, so that's great. Okay, I'm going to get my warmest wishes off of here, the one with the candles. I'm going to slide my warmest wishes right up a little bit under that bow, so I may lift my tape just a little bit and stick it under there, because I want it to look like my tag's coming out of my bow. Oops. A little piece of stray tape trying to get away. Now it's stuck to me. Okay. I'm going to stick my tag in here. While you guys are watching there, would you guys give me the thumbs up if you think our class is useful? I'd sure appreciate it if you do that for me, because it is always appreciated and it helps to make sure that YouTube continues to recommend our channel to new people. So hit the thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen if you would, please. I'm just going to position this tag so that it drops kind of straight down on my insert. I'm going to glue this onto my card, add some pearls, and this one will be done. Thank you guys for always doing the thumbs up. That's really useful to me when you'll do that. It also makes me feel good. It makes me feel appreciated when I see the thumbs up. Which I like. It just makes me feel good as well as be useful for YouTube. Shared on Pinterest. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, thank you. Okay.
Mary Glasson says she never forgets to give you a thumbs up.
Thank you. Okay, this time I used kind of the little plum, very light plum colored ones. You can put them at the top and bottom if you want to. Depends on how much space you have above your bow. It seemed like I didn't have any space above my bow on my last one, and it seems like I have more this time, so I think I'm going to put these little plum colored ones at the top too. Why not? I have the pearls available. Yep. There we go. Here's our two versions of this, and I think even though I substituted the ribbon, it's a pretty good substitution, don't you think so? Nice to have two variations. And they both look beautiful with the colors. Okay. All right, next up and last up for today, we're going to do this one. And I'm kind of glad you asked about this one because I did a couple little things here that I think are worthy of note. I'm going to trim my, we already have our card covered. I'm going to trim my topper sheet here, our cardstock that we're facing our card with. I'm going to go to 3 7/8 by 5 and just a little over 5/8. See how that looks? Nice fit. Okay, now before we put this down on our card, well, first we better tie our bow so we can get that drying because it's got best glue ever on it. So we better do that first. So I'm just going to tie, I just did a one loop bow, just a very simple bow. 5, 5, down through the hole, back up through the middle, half knot, just the same as if you were tying your shoes. Slide it off the bow maker. I will trim my tails with some little whale tails, which means I make a taco. Fold at the bottom, huh? Fold at the bottom, clip upward and out at an angle. Fold the other side like a taco, holding the fold at the bottom, trim upward and then out towards the end of my ribbon, and okay.
Here we go. You're back.
Okay, can you turn my screen back on over there too then, please? Okay, he tells me I'm back, so I'm going to go ahead and explain to you where we were headed here. There we go. Now I have a screen back. Okay. All right. All right. We're back. I just wanted to show you how much glue I'm actually putting on this ribbon. See where the little white part? Can you see the little white?
That's hard to see white on that.
It is hard to see on here.
Sparkles.
But just a little line, guys. And tiny bit. You don't need a lot of glue. It's going to stick really well. Remember, that's going to dry into a glue dot. Now, next. Thank you for your patience, by the way, while we were technically figuring it out. I just decided to buffer, and when it did, it shut down my internet connection. But we got it back, and it didn't take too long. All right, what I did with this one is I took this piece of ribbon.
Crafts should not have time limits.
It's essential. Okay, yes. I noticed. That's why we're doing 10 cards. I just used my first embossing folder. Did you love it, Brenda? Come on. Did you love that embossing folder? Did you love it? My lights didn't come back when the computer went back on, honey. I feel like I'm sitting in the dark.
You are.
Can you turn my lights back on? They do. I love my embossing folders. Oh, she's going to be totally addicted now, guys. But we're not going to do an intervention for her. No interventions. Okay, so what I did with this with this ribbon is that I put actually 2 rows of tape on it because I want tape on over the entire surface of the back of my ribbon. See that? Excuse me. It'll be a little bit difficult to peel it, but what I'm going for there is getting the entire back of my ribbon covered with tape. Oh, there, we have light again. Okay. Here we go.
Would have been easier to put down 1 row of tape,
Probably.
peel it, and then do the second row.
Probably. Bryce is asking, wouldn't it have been easier to put down 1 row first than the other row? Yes. Well, it might not have been easier. It would have been probably better to do it that way. But it's hard to pull off that way, too. And this tape, this sparkly tape, really, really doesn't want to stick to the ribbon, but we can get it to. If you peel your tape in the middle and pull back both directions, you can get it to stick. And tear it in the middle, pull back both directions.
Mary R asked if that's because of the sparkly.
Yes. All fabric ribbon doesn't like tape very well, but yes, the sparkly makes it even more inclined to want to let go of the tape, which is why we love the best glue ever, by the way. Okay. There we go. All right, so I've got this nice sticky piece of ribbon. I'm going to put this ribbon, and I have to kind of, maybe I'll do this from the back. I'm going to put this ribbon a little bit on the back, and then I'm going to wrap it over the front, because I want this ribbon to come down over the top edge and stick nicely. But I'm not going to stick it all the way down yet, because I'm going to stick another... I could have used a little bit more tape on the end. Didn't have enough. We can get another little piece of tape and stick on there, guys. My tape lifted on the very end, so I'm going to put a little bit more tape there. But I'm coming up over the top of the card with this piece of tape. And I think that actually, it's not, you might say, well, why not just go across the top of the card? I think it looks really neat coming up over the top. I had never done this before. I may never do it again because it's a little bit tricky, but I do like the look of it. I say I may never do it again. I'm just being facetious. I will probably do it again. But I just like the way it looks coming up over the top of the card. And I'm kind of creasing it there at the top, but I'm not actually sealing it down yet because I want to take another piece of ribbon and go up underneath that one. I'm going to cut myself another piece of ribbon. I'm going to find my position. Oh, I did that on the wrong side. That's the bottom of my card. And it is directional, so I'm taking it off. Darn me. All that, and I went on the bottom of the card. Do it on the pattern side, guys. This will be fine. I can fold all this tape to the back. I did it on the wrong side of the card. I wanted it on the pattern edge. So watch me do that over again, huh? Darn it. Sometimes I get mad at myself. But I don't get too mad at myself. I'm going to trim that just ever so slightly to get rid of that sticky edge, because even though I've wrapped it to the back, I still had kind of a sticky edge. That's better. All right, let's try that again. Sometimes I'm just downright silly. This was one of those times. All right, the nail biter. Debbie's thriller craft classes. That was a nail biter. You guys are funny. Oh, you guys are so funny. All right, let's try it again. Okay. At least my tape's letting go easier this time, so, well, I say that, and it doesn't let go. There we go. All right, let's try it again. I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to put the correct edge of my card. I'm going to adhere it just a little bit to the back, just enough to stick. So it's maybe 1/8 of an inch on the back. The nice thing is you can kind of see through this ribbon a little bit to see what you're doing. There we go. All right, I'm going to kind of crease it over the top just a little bit. I'm going to take my piece of ribbon that I've been trying to put in here, and I'm going to bring that ribbon right down over the top of that new piece I put there. I didn't get this as straight as I'd like. I might have to leave it. Maybe not. I didn't get that as straight as I like. I had too much over one end. Lift that just a little. Make that more even. There we go. Okay, whew, wow. A lot of work for a little effect. All right, I'm just gonna literally trim this off on the ends. Okay, I'm gonna cut myself a whale tail on this piece coming down. Probably figure out where the bottom of it is. That would be good, huh? About there. Yeah, that looks good. Is it? I'm gonna put a little piece of tape under this piece that's hanging down. I don't even know that I have to do that actually. Maybe I won't, because I'm going to use my sending wishes over the top of that. So I don't think I even need to tape that. I can just put the tape on this. By George, she got it. I love you guys. You're so funny. So fun, so funny. I love hanging out with you. You're fun. Make me laugh. I like to laugh. I bet you figured that out. Okay. All right. Bring this down, and I'm going to put my festive wishes right about there. I'm going to put some pearls, but not the bright pink pearls. I'm going to use the softer pink pearls down at the bottom. Soft pink. Come on. Okay, and I'm going to put another soft pink pearl over here in this corner. And I'm going to get this tag that says, "May your home be filled with happiness this Christmas." I'm going to put this one here. Looks like this was a little further over this time. That doesn't matter really. I might go just a little closer to center because it is. But it's gonna go where it's going. My bow is, it's dry on one side. I think I got the other one just a little bit heavy. I would normally wait a while to put it on, but I'm gonna put it on simply because you guys we're finishing this up. So I'm going to put my bow up here. I'm going to bring my tag out from under my bow. I'll put a little bit of tape on it. You don't have to call me Hop Along. I hope I don't have to have a cast, but I might have to. I recommend that when you're making yours, you go a little bit further left with the other tag, because it's got a little busy on one side and not quite enough on the other in my effort to get that put down there.
Say goodbye to Brenda. She's heading to dinner.
You heading to dinner, Brenda? Okay. Have a really nice Thanksgiving. Watch here on Wednesday, Thursday. Maybe I will have a little surprise out here for you on Thanksgiving Day. You watch and see if I don't maybe have a little surprise out here for you for Thanksgiving Day. And you will have the, you will also have what did we call that? The playlist. You'll have a playlist that will be referenced in your What's New Wednesday newsletter. I'm going to put this down on here, and this card is technically done because we got all the elements on it. And then we're going to look at some inserts. Let's look at some inserts real quick before you go, because we promised we'd do that. I want to show you the trimmy inserts. I'm leaving camera for just a second to get them out of a drawer. Oh, there's easy peelies. Where's my trimmies? Insert stuff. Oh, darn it. I know I had trimmings in the store. So I talked with such confidence about it. Oh, here's one. Here's a couple. This was looking right over the top of them. Okay, I'm back. What? Watching me roll around in my chair?
No. Thelma says, the laughter you bring to us is like a star in the night. Tree said, a very twinkly star.
Oh. Okay, insert time.
That's the glitter in the hair.
Yeah, it's the glitter in my hair, Bryce says. And then she's kind of smiley with sunglasses. Okay, for whoever was asking about easy peelies, this is what the easy peelies look like. I have one here about Christmas stocking. So let me grab one of our stocking cards. Yeah, that should still be okay, I think. Sure it's not too wide.
It's too wide.
That might be too wide for that one. Let me see. Oh, did we do the other stocking? Is that one of the ones we skipped? That's the one we skipped. Okay, then I'm doing the stocking, and I'm going to cut it narrower.
Why can't you put it in the one you skipped?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's actually a good idea, Bryce. Okay, we're going to use an easy peely here first. So, here's one that I've already inserted. I'm going to peel up my easy peely. Oops. The only problem with easy peelies is that once you start to put it down, static electricity takes over and it grabs it and goes. But that's what it looks like when you go right over the top of your insert. It's a particularly big one and a pretty bold insert, but it's still an example. And you can still see the pretty insert. It looks like we've typed right over that page, right?
Yep.
So that's
Quick
what
and
that
easy.
looks like. Huh?
Quick and easy.
It's quick and easy. Here's another form of insert that you can use. You could put these right on the white card too. Let's do this. Here's kind of an elegant sounding one. May your home be filled with happiness this Christmas. So, I like this one. This one says, Christmas time is precious, for it comes but once a year. Everywhere, both young and old, rejoice the season's here. So hang the baubles on the tree, dressed in lights that shine. The cherished loved ones close at hand, give thanks at Christmas time. I'm going to put that one on this card, and let's not put it over a topper and just see what it looks like. Because it will still be very pretty even when it's not inserted over an insert sheet. So I want to show you that. Once you start to lay it down, you're in it to go. So here is another form of insert. Okay? So that's another thought for inserts for your cards. And it looks beautiful. Open up our card, it looks nice and finished inside. Somehow I got a little icky in the corner, but beautiful. And they're not that expensive. It's like 14 something for 10 sheets of these. I don't remember how many easy peelies you get in a sheet, but you get a lot.
They vary because some verses are longer than others.
That's true. That is true. I'm trimming off the corner of this one because I had a little messiness on my finger and it left messiness on my... Stop it. Sharper scissors. There we go. There. Now it doesn't look like that. That was bugging me. Okay, so that's another thought. Easy peelies. And then one more thought for your cards is we have these packs from Hunkydory called Trim Me packs, and you choose from the selection available in your book from our home to yours on this festive season. Actually, I like that a lot for this card. They come in like an 8x8 pad, and on the back of them they have typical card sizes on the back. So when it says Trim Me, it literally means you're going to choose the size card you want to do, and you're going to trim it out, and then you're going to apply it to your card. So let's see here. I have a 4x6, which is pretty darn good for an A6 card. And it has measures going both ways. So I'm going to choose the measures for a 4x6 card. They have both horizontal and vertical measures. So I'm going to choose a 4x6 card. I'm going to trim it out on the 4x6 line. So it doesn't matter what size card you're putting these in. They've given you guidelines for just about any size card you could be putting this into. And you just trim it off on the size that you choose. So I chose a 4x6. I might have to trim it just a little in length, maybe not. Usually those have already built in, yeah, see, so it's for a 4x6, so I'm going to trim it off just a little bit more on the bottom. And they've already created my margins for me on the inside of the card. So I'm going to simply tape this in place now. These are called Trim Me's. And it's a pack of inserts. You find these useful a lot of times, guys, even if you get the inserts for a kit, because we make so many more cards than what Hunkydory anticipates that we're going to be making, that often we won't have insert sheets. So you can use these Trim Me's to insert into your cards, and then you have a nice finished look. So this is the Trim Me inserts. And then, of course, one other idea is if you have stamps, you can stamp your inserts. If you're nervous about stamping directly into your card, then stamp onto separate paper and then cut those for inserts. So there's lots and lots of choices for how you can insert your card. I think it's really beautiful to use the prepared inserts from Hunkydory. But if you don't have those, then you can still insert them in a wide variety of ways. So there you go. I think that's it for today, guys. Any questions, comments, or pearls of wisdom? We did all but 2 cards in that 12-card pack. And again, I counted this originally. I'm not sure what I forgot to count or what I didn't count, but you have 2 cards left to do out of this set. Let me show you those again. You should still be able to do these 2 cards. Oh, this is fine. You might be 1 short on card blanks because I counted this as 11. The good news is you only got charged for 11, so, and you could easily alter one of these cards and use a different card blank for it. So you have these 2 left to go. Just hold them here for a minute so you can get the pattern if you want to use what I did. But 12 cards from just a part of this kit, guys. You still have all the gnomes to do, and you still have your stamping, embossing folder, and your cutting die to use. So Wowzer is right. That is a lot of cards you can get out of this number 12 Hunkydory number 12 card kit. It is an amazing kit and an amazing value. So do tune in on Thursday. I may have a little surprise for you. I'm going to work on it. And we will see you on the other side of the holiday. Do not forget the party. Oh my gosh, don't forget the party, because it is going to be, you will not believe what fun this is going to be. We have so many things mapped out. It is going to be a hoot. So don't forget to come, because it's going to be fun and funny and value laden. We're going to have some great deals, but it's not necessarily about selling products. It's about having a real celebration of you as our customers. So I'm going to say good night, Gracie. Good night, Gracie. And we will see you again on Saturday.
Yeah.
Check it out and see what I have for you on Thursday, and I will send you a newsletter that gives you some more reminders and all. Thanks, guys. Love you.
We're ending the stream. Good night, Debbie.